There's a certain order that Avid likes you to power up your Pro Tools system. First thing you need to do is make sure that everything is off. So your computer, your hardware devices, all the things that are associated with running Pro Tools. So make sure everything is off. And then the second thing is you want to turn on your hard drives. Third thing, if you have a separate MIDI interface, you can power that on. Fourth item is to turn on your audio interface. Start your computer. And last thing, turn on your monitors, your speakers. The reason for this order, this sequence, is you want to turn your hard drives on first so that Pro Tools sees them, and then your other interfaces, so MIDI, then your audio interface, then you're ready to start your computer. Once your computer's up and running, then you can turn on your monitors and speakers. This helps to avoid pops and clicks and possibly blowing some of the elements or components of your speaker system. One of the things that you'll notice is that, for example, the systems in our lab here at UVU don't have any of these devices. So, for example, we can't turn on a separate hard drive because the hard drive, generally speaking, that we use is inside the machine. We don't have a separate MIDI device. We do have a separate audio device, but the problem with that is it's powered by the computer. So, in the case of our systems in our music lab, the first thing that we do is turn on our computer. And then if we had some separate monitors, we would turn them on. As many of you know, piracy in the software industry is a huge problem. And a lot of companies like Avid have taken steps to protect their intellectual property. The way that they've done this is through a system called Pace's iLock system. Basically what that means is when you buy a copy of Pro Tools, what you're buying is a license that allows you to use Pro Tools. That license is stored on a Pace iLock. So anytime you open up Pro Tools looks for the iLock and looks for the license that might be contained on that iLock. So Pace has two different iLocks. This is the first generation iLock. You can see basically it's just a USB thumb drive, and it contains on it the licenses, in this case, the license to run Pro Tools. This is the second generation iLock. It's been out for, I don't know, about a year, I think, and it holds more licenses. Some software requires that you actually use the iLock 2. So, anyway, both of the iLocks produced by Pace that store the license data for Pro Tools. There are essentially two types of Pro Tools systems that you may run across. The first is a host-based system, and the second is an HDX system. Basically, the difference is that the host-based system uses the CPU resources to process the data. An HDX system has a separate card that you put inside your machine that has chips on it, computer chips, and those chips are used to process a lot of the data. Now, an HDX system can also utilize host-based processing as well. So it has both of those types of processing available to it, a separate card and the computer's resources to process data, where a host-based system only has the computer's resources, doesn't have any external cards to help in the processing. So the hardware buffer size is basically the time that we are allowing Pro Tools to process its data. You can find it right here, hardware buffer size. So we can have a low setting where we're giving it limited time to process its data, or a high setting where we're giving it more time to process its data. Usually we want a low buffer setting when we're recording and a high buffer setting when we're mixing and or using a lot of virtual instruments. It's important to note here that the hardware buffer size does not affect the DSP processing or the HDX type of Pro Tools systems. Because remember, hardware buffer size only relates to the host-based processing power, not the card-based or DSP or HDX-based processing systems. Like all applications, Pro Tools has a specific menu structure where you can go to access different features and functionality in Pro Tools. First one you'll come across is the File menu. This is where you can save, open, close, create a new session, all the things relating to the basic file architecture. The Edit menu contains a variety of edit commands that you can use to edit your audio or your MIDI data. These edit commands allow you to edit or manipulate any selection that you have selected in the timeline window, which happens to be right here. Shows you a horizontal representation along a timeline. The View menu and the Window menu sound like they may be the same thing, but they actually have two distinct functions. The Window menu allows you to access certain windows. So little pop-up windows that you may want to access. You can see I'm just opening a bunch of different windows using the Windows drop-down menu. The View menu gives us options to alter the way a specific window looks. So we can go click on the View menu and you can see we can change certain items inside of the Edit window in this case, or inside of the Mix window. So we can add or subtract items from our basic window view. So for example, if we decided we wanted to add something to our Edit window here, we could do that under the View menu. We'd maybe go here and add comments. Now you can see these comments show up here. Or maybe we want to add, something else. The View menu allows us to alter how a window appears. The Track menu allows you to set up, alter, add, or delete tracks inside of your Pro Tools session. The Clip menu allows you to alter or change individual clips. A clip is just a small piece or segment or sliver of audio or MIDI. So this is where we can alter our clip data. The Event menu contains commands to alter the time, tempo, or other events associated with your Pro Tools session. The Audio Suite menu. Audio Suite is a type of plugin that's used inside of Pro Tools, and this is where you can find all of the plugins that are Audio Suite versions that are available in your Pro Tools session. You can see I have many of them here. Now, the Audio Suite plugins, what they do is they apply permanently their data to your clip information. So say you want to add some EQ to a specific clip, you can do that, and it doesn't run in real time. It actually renders the data. So you click on the render button, and if we had a piece of audio here, it would apply these changes or these changes in EQ or compression to that piece of data. So an Audio Suite plugin is a plugin type that is a rendered plugin, permanently alters the clip. The Options menu contains items that can be turned on or off inside of Pro Tools. So just remember, the Options menu allows you to toggle on or off specific items. So if you want to turn the click on or off, that's where you'll find it's the Options menu. If you want to loop playback, that's where you're going to turn that on and off. If you want to have Quick Punch enabled, you'll turn it on or off under the Options menu. Everything in that menu turns on or off. The Setup menu is a specific menu that allows you to set up specific items. Basically, it's going to open up a dialog box that will give you options to change some of your hardware or software settings. You can see as I open up some of these, it gives us the option to change a variety of options or settings in our Pro Tools session. So the Setup menu will always open a dialog box. The Window menu we mentioned earlier. The Marketplace tab here allows you to go and buy plugins or other things that you may want to purchase from Avid from within inside Pro Tools. And lastly, you have a Help menu, which is just like every other help menu that you have in applications. You'll find the Pro Tools reference guide, also shortcuts, and a variety of other things that can be helpful for you as you're working in Pro Tools.